I think first and foremost, when you have to kind of take a big bite out of the humble pie, like we had to after last week, and we challenged the guys that we had to own it, and then we had to get back to work. And I thought the intent and mentality of our team all week long in practice translated to the game. And I love the way that obviously we were able to run the football. I thought all four backs ran really well. Obviously, Roshan and Bijan kicked things off in the first half. I thought we blocked the run very well. They hit the holes well. We challenged the guys to really straining to finish in the run game to sustain our blocks, and then obviously Keelan coming in and doing his thing. I love that special teams had an impact on the game, getting that block punt early, because I think that's an aspect of the game that is a strength of ours that we need to continue to build on. And then obviously defensively, first shutout in I think 5 years here. So for those guys and a lot of guys being able to play and get in there and do their part, all really good positives for us coming out of last week. The reality of it is, next week, I would say the regular season begins with Big 12 play, with Tech coming into town at 11 a.m. And so, I think this creates a new challenge, right? Where last week we had a bad taste in our mouth and we had to get back to work and really dig in and have really good intent. This week is no different, and we're going to really challenge the players on we can't relax, and now's not the time to just relax and take a step back. And I think that was a lesson learned coming out of the Louisiana game, going to Arkansas. And so now we get another opportunity to do that this week with our preparation to get ready for conference play here with Tech next week.
Raise your hand for the question. We'll get a mic check. Start right up front with Brian.
Steve, you mentioned a couple of times in different settings that you say it's about us, it's not about the opponent. And how much did you see what you consider to be terrific execution?
In whatever phase on your team's part, regardless of who the opponent was?
Well, I think that's why I wanted to try to touch all three phases, really, because when you watched it, I thought there was really good execution offensively. We had a couple things in protection breakdowns that we definitely need to clean up, but the idea that we wanted to get the ball on the perimeter a little bit more, and we were able to do that. I thought Xavier Worthy showed up. I thought defensively, having the ability to stop the run on early downs. They're a power running football team. We were able to do that and then get off the field on third down. And then on special teams, again, blocking the punt, being aggressive there. We had a couple punt returns that were close to getting out. And then obviously from a kickoff standpoint, I thought Dicker was fantastic. They didn't have any returns. And through it all, the beauty of it was a lot of guys got to play that maybe we haven't been able to see in the first couple of weeks. And so that experience is invaluable for those guys all the way to the end to have Derek Harris getting a sack, to kind of to seal the shutout. So a lot of guys got to play, and those are good building blocks for us moving forward.
Over here on your left, Cedric.
Hey, Steve. What did you learn about your team these 3 games? And also, I know you're week to week, but do you keep an eyeball on what's going on in the conference, even in non-conference, because you know what you got to be coming up against?
Yeah. I think the one thing that we've learned is, when our guys are challenged, they really rise to the challenge, and I think that's a quality that I've mentioned before. I hate to harbor on the loss because, we've had 2 good wins. But I think we learned a lot about our team in a direction that we can go moving forward from that loss. But we've got a team that is got a lot of grit and has a great deal of perseverance. And, it'd have been easy coming out of that game to say, have some guys, wondering is this the right scheme, or are these the right coaches, or is this the right place for me? And we didn't have that. We had guys that sat right in the chairs you're sitting in that said, okay, we all need to get better. We all have to coach better. We all have to play better. We all have to be more physical. We all have to run the ball better. We all have to stop the run better. And they responded. And I think that's a great trait to have. Now, we have to be able to capture that same ability that we have from week to week in game, because we're going to get faced with more adversity as the season comes on in game. And we have a trait, and more than one, to lean on, to fall back on, that we're going to need in game, first quarter, second quarter, halftime, and for them to recognize that's a quality that they have in them, that they can rely on and count on to be successful. And that's probably the biggest thing that I know of our team right now. Now, we've got work to do. We weren't perfect tonight. We've got work to do, and we're going to face a different opponent, a different style opponent next week. So, I think moving forward is let's hold on to the things that we have and the qualities that we have, and that's grit, that's perseverance, that's tough mentally and physically, and then be able to apply those things in game when they come. Sorry.
Taking a look at what's going on in Big 12.
A little bit. I have a chance here and there. You play these night games, you get a chance to kind of, peek at a couple games. I know a couple teams won some tight ones today. I think the conference is playing well right now. I haven't seen all the scores, but for the most part, the conference is winning the non-conference games. It sure looks like a physical conference. Everybody plays a physical brand of football. I don't think this is the Big 12 of old when you watch from afar. Teams believe in running the ball and stopping the run, and that kind of the old adage of that's where the game is won and lost at the line of scrimmage is kind of what it feels like. But again, when we start to dig in from opponents to week, we'll have an idea.
Coach, how do you make sure that your team handles success the way you would want them to handle success in a big win like this, as opposed to inviting some sort of emotional roller coaster?
You got to attack it head on, and that's what we did in the locker room. I didn't mince my words with them. That this is another challenge for us. The challenge last week was to get up off the mat, right, and to get back to playing to the standard that we're capable of playing at. This challenge is different, right? Now it's, okay, we played to the standard. Now we need to recreate to get back to play to the standard and then exceed the standard and create a new standard for the way we play. And so I didn't really mince my words with those guys. I think that they understand the challenge that lies ahead. And that's going to come from our intent as a coaching staff when we get back with these guys Monday morning. And then it's going to take the leadership of the team to lock back in and refocus in to do the things necessary to play the standard that we're capable of playing.
Sark, I don't remember if it was the first or second play of the game, but you flipped the ball to Xavier coming off that fly motion and did that a couple of times, and then also running when you had the Wildcat formation with 3 tight ends on the field. Is that the kind of stuff that the offense is evolving the way you wanted to, or is that you going back and looking at the tape and feeling like those are some things you need to do to get this offense on the right track?
It's probably both, quite frankly. We like to be multiple as an offense. We like to present issues for the defense with a variety of looks. We like to play to the strengths of the players that we have. But I really believe the more things we can do well, the tougher we are to defend. I've never been really just a vanilla guy. We've always tried to be as creative as we can be to get the players the ball in their hands to be successful. But ultimately, that has to be something that we do well in practice. I'm just not comfortable calling things that we don't practice very well. And a couple of those things we've been working on, and tonight just felt like the right time to start to run some of those things, and hopefully we can continue to evolve in both the things you mentioned, but even beyond that.
Yeah, I think you admitted the passing game hadn't shown much the first 2 games. I was curious where you thought it improved today, and the whole Casey-Xavier connection. Could that be something special?
Yeah, I think that obviously we're efficient. I don't know exactly what the numbers were, but I think we're relatively efficient. I think 4 incompletions on the night. it was kind of the way the game went, because of the run game was so explosive. I thought we just missed a couple opportunities down the field that we would have loved to hit. We had a little bit of a breakdown of protection where I think we had a deep shot down the field. We took another one to Xavier that, some might say was pass interference. We took a shot to Josh Moore. We got a back shoulder fade to Xavier. We got a wheel route to Wiley. We had a nice third down conversion there to Calvante Dixon. So I think all of those things in the moments that they showed is that we are moving in the right direction. But ideally, I don't know if we're going to go out and rush for 430 yards every night. So we're going to need that passing game to be there, and we just got to keep working on it. Yeah, Xavier was great. That was a point of emphasis of just trying to get him the ball in space and see what he could do. And the thing that I like about him is for his fast and, he's not the biggest guy. He has some physicality about him. He had a couple times on the sidelines where I think a lot of guys might have stepped out of bounds. He dropped his shoulder and finished the run. And, that's a quality and trait that we try to preach here about contact courage, and he definitely exuded that tonight.
You said, I think, on Monday that you wanted this offensive line to grow together and start to mesh. Did you see that throughout the course of the week of practice and throughout the game? And then you also mentioned getting the ball to the perimeter. Is that run game centric or pass game centric?
Well, I thought the offensive line did respond, and I give Coach Flood a lot of credit. He was on them this week, and we just weren't going to let the little things slide, and we challenged him on, never mind the result of the play or whatever it was about, did you do your job exactly how it was supposed to be done and then beyond? And that's how the week was, and that's how we coached it, and I think that's how we coached it in game, and we saw the results. I do believe in both aspects, whether it was in the passing game or the running game, we did try to get the ball a little bit more in space and not play as much internal football and get the guys the ball in space. And, I think we had success there. But ultimately, the interior runs were very effective tonight as well. So the ball in the perimeter was good, and I thought the runners ran it well. But again, getting the ball in space to the wideouts, I think, was effective too.
We've obviously seen what Bijan and Roshan could do, but this is our first kind of extended look at Keelan. Can you talk about not just him in the run game and the burst he has, but also doing it on special teams?
He's been fantastic on special teams all year, and I was really pumped for him tonight to get the punt block. That had been something that we had emphasized all week, and to make that come to life, and him trusting it and doing it and getting the block. But he's been a great addition for us. He's just got the right mentality. And then he was like a rocket ship on the touchdown run. He looked great. He's another guy, not the biggest of stature, but plays very hard. And he exudes the characteristics that we want in our football team. And so to see a couple of the smaller guys in our team playing that way, that should give you an idea of how the rest of the team is playing.
We saw a card come in like in the second round of the third quarter. What is your deciding factor when switching out the QBs?
Yeah, Casey played the first half. We really felt like, looking at the score, we wanted both units offensively and defensively to come out and play the first series of the second half to get accustomed to coming in the locker room, having that downtime, and then coming back out and playing again together. Obviously that drive resulted in a touchdown, and then we wanted to make sure we got Hudson in the game where he could play some real football, and I thought he did a nice job. The way the clock was going, we tried to play as many guys as we could. And the reality of it is, even in his last drive, the way the clock was going, I really wish I would have gotten Charlie Wright in the game and Ben Ballard in the game. That's on me. I wish I would have done that sooner to get more guys in, but we played a lot of players. It never goes exactly how you want. I think there was like 7 or 8 minutes on the clock in the fourth quarter, and I wasn't able to get those guys in. So hopefully we get another opportunity in the road where I can play all those QBs.
Got time for 2 last ones, far right. Chip?
Steve, Casey leads 7 touchdown drives and 8 possessions. Does this make him the starter going forward as you head into conference play?
there's something about him when he gets in the game, the ball moves down the field. And, I give him a lot of credit, like I've said before, about his perseverance and just his intent to continue to prepare. We'll reassess all that as we come back as a staff in the morning. I'd imagine that Casey will kind of lead the charge next week against Tech. And I don't see any difference where Hudson's probably going to get his opportunity to get in the game as well. So proud of both those guys.
Coach Sarkisian, congratulations on today's win.
Thank you.
So as you were rotating the second level depth chart were there players that stood out that just outperformed what you even expected? And I'm thinking of Watson, for example, that have earned now maybe some more playing time in practice and some serious consideration.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Jonathan Brooks. I thought Jonathan ran the ball really well tonight. And, he was a guy that wasn't available for us the first game against Louisiana. Weren't able to get him in the game last week against Arkansas. So to watch him run, that was good for us to see, and the way he ran the ball. And then obviously Gabe coming in and doing what he did. But that second O-line did a nice job. Going across the board with Carrick and Tope and Parr. That whole group, Garth, that whole group I thought went in and, blocked well. They were effective. You didn't see people free in the backfield. They did their jobs. And but really on both sides, a lot of guys played. It was really good to see Keaton Crawford. He's been great for us on special teams. But then to see him play extended time at corner, I thought that was good for us. A lot of linebackers played in this game. So that's when you can get these games, you kind of find out, who can step up. Sorrell was a guy defensively that played quite a bit as a true freshman that hadn't played much in 2 games. That stood out to me. So I'm leaving guys out, but the bottom line is, we saw a lot of people play. Now we got to look at the tape and who was right and who was wrong. But the opportunities they got, I think, for some of them, it's going to warrant more time, more playing time earlier in games.
Steve, before the game, Michael ran out with a big 48 flag. I'm kind of wondering what was kind of the decision process behind that tribute, and your thoughts on finding a way to honor Jake.
Well, we have the 48 flag all year. We've had it every game, and we just try to pick somebody that has an impact, or had an impact, and vice versa on Jake's life, and or vice versa they had on Jake's life. Obviously, Michael was a pallbearer at his funeral, and to give him that opportunity, I think, is a special moment for him, but also for Jake's family, and we'll continue to honor him that way throughout the season.